what do you want to want? And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, that's freaking deep. So I heard a really, really interesting question the other day. And it was something along the lines of, what do you want to want? And when I heard that, I was like, whoa, that's freaking deep. And whoa, first of all, I just jumped right into this. So welcome back, but who cares about the intro? I want to dive into this topic. What do you want to want? When we really dissect that question, we are basically, when you think about what you want, and I'll ask you this question: what do you want? If I were to look at you in the eye and say, what do you want? Well, the first thing that starts coming to our mind and visualization is probably going to be something along the lines of being materialistic. It's going to be, right, like, what do you want? Oh, I want a nice car. I want, and all these things that are going to be based on our environmental, our societal norms, maybe the people around us. And I hit on this in my last podcast, or maybe it's the one, I don't know. I just filmed one very similar recently, and you know, when you get to thinking about like what you want, a lot of those things they're dictated by what the environment around us is kind of applying to us, and the pressure we almost feel, right? And you might disagree with that. You might say, hey, like, because there are people that are super grounded in their own beliefs and systems, right? And when you really break down that question of not what do you want, but what do you want to want, you run into this this wall of basically giving yourself a decision to be able to break down exactly what you want. Your desires. So what I'm saying is you get to dissect your wants, and when you really look at it from the outside looking in, it's kind of a question of fulfillment. What fulfills you? And a lot of the times, like when I reflect on this to myself, and I'll use myself as an example, when I heard this question, I'll admittedly, like, I'm thinking, you know, like my family, I wanted to be in a big house, and you know, I want everybody in my family to be able to come there for holidays, right? Like those are cool things to have and whatnot. But then when I really, really started getting down into it, I was like, wait, I want to want the things deep down inside that ultimately get me there. And what are those things? It's the inner drive every day, the waking up with clarity, the daily habits and contentment and fulfillment that come from, you know, meditation and that clear-headedness and all of these things. And you can get into purpose and intuition and your drive and motivation. Like, we could get into all these different factors. And, you know, like you could say, hey, what do you want? And somebody could say, I want $10 million. Well, let's dissect that, right? And when you really, I don't know, I was blown away by this question. I guess kind of a reason that I want to put this out there was to hear your thoughts on that question, because it's so deep to me. What do you want to want? And like you can tell I have a hard time putting into words exactly what, not specifically what I want, but breaking that down. And I just think it's a really interesting topic to kind of dive into on the idea that if you're in a place of want, that realistically, all you have is all you need. And when you break that down like that and look at the difference between wants and needs, Well, now we really get into a psychological thing and I guess a physical thing as well. Like, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have water to drink, food to eat, right? Like, all you have right now, you can survive on, and you could be just okay with. But again, the pressures of having a family, having, you know, or just the environmental, like maybe it's social and your friends want you to go out on a Friday night every Friday, but you don't want to spend the $100 on drinks every weekend, right? There's so many things that go into it, but realistically, you can say no to any and all of that and be okay. And I guess if there is one thing that you take away from this little conversation and topic and food for thought, it would be to really look at your wants versus your needs, and to apply the idea that, and I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I think it's beneficial in my own life to take a step back sometimes and be like, whoa, I'm going a little too hard at these things, and these maybe materialistic, not so, like maybe the experience, I don't know, but going a little too hard when really I could just slow down and say, hey, I've got everything I need. I can plant my feet right here and be super present in this moment. And to circle it all back together, when I think about what do I want to want, I want to want that presence and the feeling you get when time feels slow, but then you look back on it and you're like, whoa, time went by really fast, right? And that pure presence. So that's what I'll leave you with. That's my takeaway from that question. If you can break it down any further for me in the comments, I'd be happy to get into that conversation. You know, I always respond to my questions or my comments here on YouTube within 48 hours usually. So if you do have a good conversation starter around this topic, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so the first one to see my videos. I hope there was, I'm still like expanding in my brain, so I hope there was a little bit something there for you to expand on and take away. But until next time, hope you have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.